Have you ever heard of the mysterious and mind-blowing substance known as antimatter? This strange type of matter is composed of antiparticles, which have the same mass as particles of normal matter, but opposite charge and other quantum properties. When an antiparticle comes into contact with a particle, they annihilate each other and release a burst of energy. This phenomenon has fascinated scientists for decades and has been the subject of countless science fiction stories. But antimatter is not just a figment of our imagination. It actually exists, and some researchers are even trying to create it and harness it for practical use. But the potential applications of antimatter are not limited to peaceful pursuits. Some have even speculated about the possibility of using antimatter as a weapon. A potential weapon of mass destruction is the antimatter bomb. The mere thought of such a weapon is enough to send shivers down your spine. An antimatter bomb would have the power to destroy entire cities, leaving nothing but ruins and radiation in its wake. So, is the antimatter bomb just a pipe dream? Or is it real and present danger? Join us as we delve into the exciting and terrifying world of antimatter and find out the truth about the antimatter bomb. So, what is antimatter? Antimatter may sound like something out of a science fiction novel, but antimatter is a real and mysterious substance. At its most basic level, antimatter is just like regular matter, except its electrical charge is reversed. But when antimatter and matter come into contact, they annihilate each other and release a burst of energy. But is it even possible to create an antimatter bomb? So, what about the possibility of an antimatter bomb? It might seem simple. Just bring antimatter and matter together and boom. But is it really possible to create an antimatter bomb? Unfortunately, the answer is no. At least, not yet. While antimatter has the potential to be a powerful energy source, it is currently very difficult to produce and control in large quantities. So, while the idea of an antimatter bomb might be intriguing, it remains a distant possibility for now. Rolf Landua, a physicist at CERN, has pointed out that it would be difficult to create an antimatter bomb. If you were to sum up all of the antimatter produced by CERN's antimatter physics program over the past 30 years, it would amount to a mere 10 billionth of a gram. If this were somehow to explode on your fingertip, it would be no more harmful than lighting a match. Antimatter is also known as the most expensive substance on Earth. 1 gram of antimatter would cost around $62.5 trillion. Additionally, antimatter is difficult to contain and handle, making it a dangerous and unreliable substance for use in a weapon. While antimatter has the potential to be a powerful energy source, it is not as catastrophic as some science fiction stories might suggest. For example, 1 pound of antimatter has the energy equivalent of approximately 19 megatons of TNT, making it more powerful than other explosives, but not as destructive as some claim. What about creating a smaller version of an antimatter bomb? There is a small chance that we could develop a type of antimatter bomb called an antimatter catalyzed nuclear pulse propulsion device. This type of bomb would use small antimatter explosions to trigger nuclear explosions. These bombs could potentially be used as a fuel for spacecraft, and they could also be used to create small, low-fallout weapons. However, these types of bombs would be expensive to produce, and we would need to find a way to safely store and handle antimatter in order to use it as fuel. The US Air Force has reportedly funded research into antimatter weapons since 1983, and they have explored several different potential uses for antimatter, including propulsion, power generation, and directed energy weapons. Did you know that researchers have developed an antimatter gun? Researchers at the University of Michigan have developed an antimatter gun that can generate short bursts of positrons, which are antimatter particles with a positive charge. This device, which is less than a meter long, is able to produce quadrillions of positrons in just 30 femtoseconds, which is a similar number to those produced by a particle accelerator at CERN. Although this device is not intended to be used as a weapon, it could help scientists learn more about the energy composition and behavior of antimatter particles and the jet streams of black holes and pulsars. But what could potentially be the most viable use for antimatter? One potential use for antimatter is as fuel for spacecraft. Using a small amount of antimatter to initiate a nuclear reaction, called antimatter initiation microfusion, also known as AIM, could allow a spacecraft to reach Mars in just 6 weeks. AIM is very efficient, as the energy released when matter and antimatter collide is about 10 billion times greater than the energy released by traditional hydrogen and oxygen combustion. However, storing antimatter remains a challenge. Scientists at Penn State have proposed using antimatter storage rings on spacecraft. But more research is needed to make this idea a reality. It will be interesting to see how the study of antimatter progresses and what peaceful or potentially dangerous uses it may have in the future. So there you have it. Antimatter is a truly extraordinary and mysterious substance. It has the power to change the way we think about energy and propulsion, and its potential is truly limitless. While there are still many challenges to overcome in the study of antimatter, the rewards of making progress in this field could be immense. Just imagine the possibilities: faster and more efficient space travel, revolutionary new technologies, and a deeper understanding of the universe we live in. The excitement and wonder of exploring antimatter is enough to give anyone chills. Antimatter has been proposed as a potential fuel for spacecraft and as a catalyst for nuclear reactions. But what about its use as a weapon? Do you think it is possible to develop antimatter weapons in the near future? And if so, what do you think the risks and implications of this would be? Share your views with us in the comments. We'd love to read them. If you found this video informative and enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button as well. We'd really appreciate the gesture. Thank you for watching.